Ave Maria, everyone. This is Curtis Voltman again, just making another video. So someone, Dana Adams, had some questions, which I thought were pretty good that I should go ahead and clarify. She said, you should do a video and talk about your goals. That would be neat. I kind of get the gist of your vision. And then I asked her, some extra questions. She said, what's your purpose or charism or goal for the Hermit Life? I probably missed it. So I'm going to go over a little bit of what the Hermits of St. Bruno in that one document that I linked on the Eremitic Charism are. And I'll go over some of this stuff. Okay, so they have in specific notes. For a consecrated person to be a hermit, he must live through a stricter withdrawal from the world. This separation makes this particular exterior solitude possible, which implies detachment from creatures and hidden from the eyes of men. It is the desert of the Catechism, paragraph number 921. External solitude favors external silence. Exterior silence supports inner silence. That is the contemplation and peace that derive from detachment, not thinking about it, not desiring from creatures. This separation cannot and must not be absolute. We have need of others. This is true for hermits, etc. That the heart of the Christian life is the love of God, verified with the love for our neighbor. But if it is not an effectual detachment, that is a detachment that has effects, then there is no eremitic life. Interior silence facilitates the reciprocity of love with the Lord, which is the vocation of every Christian. But the hermit must do so progressively. Profound, it is the personal intimacy with Christ, of which the Catechism speaks, number 921. Exclusive, right? Because the silence and solitude are meant to block out the world to a certain extent. Like you can't be like an island, right? So exclusive, because he is everything for him. The hermit, together with his vocation, receives a particular grace which enables a maturity in divine love by withdrawing from human affairs as much as possible and to immerse oneself totally in the relationship with God in Christ. And then a continuous. This continuity is indicated to be always with the Lord in consecrated life number 7 and in continuous prayer in Canon 603, section 1. Ecclesiastical stuff. Okay, skipping that. So that answers the charism. The charism, silence and solitude, to be completely and focused on God and to be with Him alone, right? A good way to think about this is the cross, right? This is something that maybe I have some paper or something somewhere. A good way to draw this. So I got this analogy from a Benedictine several years ago. So okay, so as you can see there, that's the cross. So the horizontal is your human relations, right? Love of neighbor, etc. And the vertical is God and man. So you're up and down, right? So the way they explained this to me was, if you have an equidistant cross, like a plus sign down there, that'd be like the Benedictine charism, is what they're talking about. Equal parts relationship with neighbor, relationship with God. Whereas a hermit would be more like that one, where it's less human, more about the divine nature. And then maybe a good way to put that is, in a more apostolic person and less prayer, would be like that, where it's more horizontal, more human, less divine, as far as focus, right? So that's a good way of putting it. spirituality in this thing. The hermit believes that love received from God and given back to him is a supreme vocation of man. Right? What does the Catechism teach that we are created for? To know, love, serve God. Okay? And there's various ways of serving him. From the eremitical life to more in community monastic life to more mendicant life like Franciscans to like diocesan priests, lay people and stuff. So kind of that whole spectrum there. The hermit accepts the need to be separated from the world as a mysterious initiative from God, trusting that with his vocation he gives the necessary help. He believes that Christ satisfies his transformation into being a saint in love. He is confident that becoming increasingly holy gives conjointly to the church and world a help that is incalculable. What I was talking about earlier with graces. The hermit bravely embraces the mortifications that are tied to his vocation. Penances established by the rule, and unforeseen penances. And just the penances of just daily life. Praying the divine office when you don't feel like it, or if you're tired. Which is not an express penance, but is still a penance to human nature. Okay, and knowing that he has to combat relentlessly denying his self-admiration, therefore, like Jesus and Mary, becoming an absolute filial yes with the love of the Father. The hermit remains ever vigilant to be humble. In his life, everything is a gift where nothing is acquired once forever. Faithful, obedience to the rule is the surest way to persevere in God's will, and grateful. Even when the way is narrow, God has reserved the best part for him. It says Luke 10:42. So Luke chapter 10, verse 42. A most significant inheritance, and it says Psalms chapter 15, verse 6. Now below this it says part 4, urban eremitism, if I'm saying that word right. Is it possible? Yes, this goes back to what I said. It's possible because, remember, silence and solitude, that's the charism. So you can do this within a house in a city, even in downtown Detroit, so long as you meet that requirement, and you can live the rest of your life. The evangelical councils, prayer, etc. And this goes on and says, in reality, solitude is also possible in a city because many people do live alone. 32% of housing stock in the Kent area are single occupancy, etc. So I guess this is a UK website. But yeah, it goes here. It says the hermit can live alone in the city because they can find sufficiently quiet, self-contained accommodation, right? The silence and solitude that I was talking about. They can limit their outings to the strictly necessary, especially with online shopping, using companies like Amazon, etc. I'd also say Tam Books, Mediatrix Press, other things. I think even grocery stores now, you can do some type of Grubhub, DoorDash, something like that.